Thank you, Senator Ruston. Senator Madigan.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. Innovation, that's the buzzword here on both sides of the House as our manufacturing sector potentially enters its death throes. Business needs to innovate, we hear from the opposition when it was in government. We need more innovation in business, we hear from the government as another car manufacturer pulls up stumps and announces its intention to leave our shores. But there's one group of people who are failing to innovate, and that's people on both sides of this chamber and the other place. You're incredibly good at attributing blame. The government today quoted how many jobs were lost during the previous government's term. Well, I think the current government has a pretty good score on that issue also. What has been done, and what has been done in the terms of innovation? All I've heard so far are band-aid statements. I want to hear from all of you what your grand plan is and how you're going to respond while our manufacturers potentially die. And what about the previous government? You had plenty of experience of job losses also, so where are your answers? And the current government, in opposition, you had the luxury of time to come up with one or two ideas, surely, to answer our current crisis. In my view, both sides of the House are fiddling while Rome burns. Because while you're both currently prevaricating and bickering, the banks will be looking at components manufacturers, for example, and looking at their ability to keep up their mortgages and their repayments on equipment. Go and ask any farmer how understanding the bloody banks are when the proverbial hits the fan. Poor commodity prices, drought, fire and flood. Ask farmers what it's like when they're told by us that we're looking into it. We'll help you. And of course we've got complicated assistance packages for farmers. I'll bet we'll get complicated assistance packages for our manufacturers and their employees who find themselves in terrible positions. It won't be easy, it won't be simple, it won't be quick, and it won't come fast enough. But you can be sure of one thing, it will be unbelievably bureaucratic. Instead of blaming workers, instead of blaming the unions and blaming each other, why don't you people practice what you preach and innovate support and encouragement for our manufacturing sector and their families that are now thinking about the crisis that they're potentially facing? Why don't you come up with some quick and effective ways to respond to the current crisis? Federal, state governments need to get together now, not to come up with more pie charts, ledgers, more motherhood statements. We need an action plan and we need it now. We're talking about people here, Australian workers, Australian small and medium business owners, people who have invested their life's work and effort into their businesses. They often say to me their most valuable asset is the people working for them. The decision to sack is not made lightly, easily or flippantly. Don't think because it will happen in 2016, 2017, the tsunami is not already on its way. It's already having an effect on families and businesses, working people in the western suburbs of Melbourne and across Victoria and elsewhere. The unseen people, the night shift workers, the 60-hour-a-week labourers, whacking on a hard hat and a safety glasses with a high-vis vest and crocodile's tears doesn't cut the mustard. Here's a novel idea. How many of you have conscientiously gone out this week to buy something Australian? How many? How many of you just assume, or do you make the effort to call up and ask, is this product Australian made? The problems our manufacturers face are partially attributable to successive governments of all persuasions. Just get on with it and stop bleating about it.